Um, okay. It's not on. Okay, so what I think is interesting is that there were some pieces of historical context that would be good. We have we have Jean-Marie on. Can we put him on here as well? Okay, thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, he can't see. Do you see us? Jean-Marie. Okay, hello. Yes. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Okay, so we can maybe start off with the questions. You want to go ahead?
Okay. So our first question is, what was the role of woman in the movement? And are we asking questions and then letting them answer, or
Yeah.
yeah? Okay. So yes, our first question is, what was the role of woman in the movement?
Hi, Jean-Marie. Can you hear us? Did you hear that question?
Jean-Marie, vous avez entendu la question? On demande quel était le rôle de la femme dans les mouvements.
Hi, Jean-Marie. Can you hear us?
Oui, les femmes ont eu à jouer des rôles vraiment importants
They played a very important role
dans le mouvement et
in the movement.
surtout pendant qu'on était en train de surveiller, les militaires surveillaient plus les hommes et ce sont les femmes qui étaient en train de nous ravitailler.
Since Jean-Marie, vous
Oui.
parler à court, comme ça je peux interpréter votre message.
Oui, je disais, hein, pendant que nous étions en train de lutter,
So
et
while we were still
comme les
fighting,
militaires étaient plus focalisés sur les hommes,
and the military were mostly watching the men,
nous étions en train d'utiliser les femmes pour que ces dernières puissent nous ravitailler.
So we were using the women so they can supply us.
Voilà, et je me souviens quand je me cachais quelque part.
And I remember when I was hiding somewhere.
C'était les femmes qui étaient en train de venir, qui m'apportaient à manger.
It's the women who brought me food.
Donc, même quand il y avait des barrières, les routes étaient barricadées, donc les femmes parvenaient à franchir ces barrières.
Even when the roads were closed, the women were able to cross over.
Ouais. Et quand nous avons besoin aussi des renseignements, tout ça,
and when we needed information, intelligence,
on utilisait toujours les femmes.
We went through the women.
Oui, mais il y a des moments où les femmes prennent les devants. Par exemple, dans notre organisation, les numéros 2 de l'organisation a toujours été une femme pendant un long moment.
But there are times when the women will take the front line. For example, in our organization, the second person is a woman.
Oui, les femmes ont eu à jouer le rôle de porte-parole pendant un bon moment.
And for a long time, they play the role of a spokesperson in our organization.
Oui, c'est un peu ça.
That's their role.
Thank you so much, Jean-Marie. Our next
beaucoup. La prochaine question.
Our next question is, how are things in the Congo now since the film? Are there political forces in the Congo? Are there grassroots organizations? What's the state of the movement now?
Quelle est la situation en RDC actuellement sur terrain? C'est quoi la situation de la base?
Bon, actuellement, la situation économique est vraiment à critiquer dans le pays.
Presently, the economic situation is very critical.
Donc, rien ne marche en réalité.
Nothing's really working.
Voilà. Et nous, en tant que mouvement, nous avons opté pour le fait de ne pas continuer, donc de ne plus faire la publicité de nos actions, mais nous sommes en train de nous concentrer sur la mobilisation.
So we as an organization will no longer make known what we're doing. We are now working on mobilizing. We are now working on mobilizing people and raising awareness. Okay.
Thank you so much. And our last question from the audience
Merci
is,
beaucoup.
what tactics work best for mobilizing people?
Quelles sont les tactiques qui fonctionnent le mieux pour la mobilisation?
Oui, c'est la projection des films et documentaires éducatifs dans des milieux reculés de la capitale. Oui.
It's projecting films mostly in remote areas in the capital.
Et nous faisons aussi des formations sur le panafricanisme dans des universités.
We also carry out training on Pan-Africanism in universities.
Parce que les politiques ont fait en sorte que les étudiants ne puissent plus rester dans des homes.
Because the politicians have decided that students will no longer live on campus.
Parce que les homes facilitent la mobilisation.
Because when they're living on campus, it allows them to easily come together or mobilize.
Alors, nous avons créé une stratégie, donc le fait d'entrer dans des universités et de recruter les étudiants.
So our strategy consists of going on campus and recruit students.
Cela s'est fait à travers la formation sur le panafricanisme.
And we do that through trainings on Pan-Africanism.
Et là, s'il faut mobiliser, nous avons la facilité parce que nous avons plusieurs groupes WhatsApp, nous avons les contacts de tous ces étudiants-là et on peut juste les appeler pour qu'on puisse les rencontrer quelque part d'autre.
So when we do that, it's much easier to get their phone numbers, their WhatsApp. We have WhatsApp groups and other means so that we can call them and come together.
Thank you so much. Those are all of the questions that we have from the audience, but we do have a few questions for the panel.
C'était les questions qu'on avait du public. Maintenant, on a des questions du panel pour le panel.
Okay, thank you so much and welcome, Passy. We're happy to have you here as well.
Merci, Passy. On est très content de vous avoir ici.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, this film that we watched was created about 8 years ago. Much has happened since. So what does the struggle for liberation in Congo look like today? Maybe can you speak to some differences or challenges you faced since?
Jean-Marie, vous comprenez?
Non.
Donc, ce film que nous venons de voir a été fait il y a 8 ans. Maintenant, 8 ans après, comment est la situation sur le terrain? Quelles sont les réalisations?
Oui. Par rapport à ce que vous voyez dans le film, nous avons pu empêcher au régime Kabila d'aller au-delà de ce qui est prévu par la Constitution.
So we were able to stop the Kabila regime from going beyond the 8 years that are provided for in the Constitution.
Malgré, il a pu quand même obtenir les 2 ans de plus,
But
mais
he was
c'était
able
un
to stay.
accord avec l'opposition.
He was able to stay for 2 more years, but that was in agreement with the opposition.
Alors, on croyait que comme c'est un opposant, donc quelqu'un avec qui nous avions lutté, a eu à passer au pouvoir.
We thought that since somebody coming from the opposition, somebody with whom we worked with, going to power,
que les choses allaient changer.
That things would change.
Nous avons pu l'observer pendant un bon moment et nous avons constaté qu'il y a un problème sérieux. Donc, il ne parvient pas à changer les choses.
So we observed the person, the present president who is in power, and we saw that he is not able to change the situation.
Alors, cette façon de faire nous a mis un peu dans le déséquilibre et maintenant on cherche à se ressaisir et nous continuons cette lutte-là pour la libération du Congo.
So this situation actually disturbed us a little bit, but we were able to recollect, and we are still working to free Congo.
Mais je peux dire que par rapport à la fois passée, donc nous sommes encore beaucoup plus forts parce que nous avons pris le temps de de conscientiser. Voilà.
I believe that now we are stronger than we were before because we have taken the time to raise awareness.
Donc, malgré il y avait déjà un ex-opposant au pouvoir, mais nous n'avons pas arrêté de faire nos activités, nous n'avons pas arrêté de conscientiser et de faire accroître notre organisation.
So in spite of the fact that we have a former person from the opposition in power, we did not stop working, we did not stop carrying out our activities.
Et sauf que nous avons adopté une autre attitude, le fait de ne pas trop faire la publicité de ce que nous faisons et nous comptons surprendre.
So we've adopted another position, that of not making too much noise of what we are doing. C'est tout?
Oui.
Yeah, that's all.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So you raised really good points. Now, the majority of the population in DRC is rural, right?
La majorité de la population en RDC est rurale, n'est-ce pas?
You gave us examples of organizing college students. In many ways, that's experiences class in certain environments. Can you maybe speak to the differences and maybe similarities as well with organizing in urban areas like Kinshasa, as that was the majority of the film, versus, say, Goma? The situation is different there.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous donner la différence dans l'organisation des activités? Par exemple, vous avez parlé des étudiants, mais quelle est la différence entre organiser les choses à Kinshasa et organiser les choses, par exemple, à Goma?
Oui, la différence est que à Kinshasa, Kinshasa, c'est une ville qui est plus ou moins sécurisée. Le Goma, la ville de Goma, c'est une zone rouge.
So in Kinshasa, there's security, while Goma is, we can say it's a red zone.
Et à Goma, il y a plus d'activités militaires. Et c'est vraiment une ville difficile à bouger. Je me souviens, quand nous avons envoyé notre équipe pour la formation, vous pouvez interpréter.
So Goma is a military zone, actually, and it's kind of very difficult to move around. I remember when we sent out our team to go film.
Nous avons commencé par contacter nos membres à partir de Kinshasa.
We started by contacting our members from Kinshasa.
Et ils s'étaient cachés, donc ils ont eu à recevoir la formation dans une église.
And they received the training hidden in a church.
Donc nous sommes vraiment arrangés pour que même le service de renseignement ne puisse pas détecter qu'il y avait une formation qui s'est donnée dans cette église.
So we made sure that even the intelligence services were not aware that there was a training taking place in the church.
Oui. Alors des gens, par exemple, comme nous là, nous déplacer, aller dans de telles zones, c'est déjà alerter les services de renseignement.
For example, for us, leaving where we are and going in such a zone, the intelligence service will be informed, so it was a little bit dangerous.
Alors, là, il faut utiliser les figures moins connues pour parvenir à faire des formations.
So we have to use people who are not well known by them so that we can train our people.
Voilà. Maintenant, en ce qui concerne la projection des films et documentaires éducatifs,
Now, regarding projecting films and educational documentaries,
c'est très compliqué parce que c'était compliqué de le faire à Goma parce que cela s'est fait en plein air.
it was very complicated to do that in Goma because it has to be done outside.
Dans des milieux tels que les centres des handicapés, des milieux où les gens vivent en communauté.
In areas where people live in community.
Donc, c'est un peu ça la différence. Donc, à Kinshasa, on peut faire des activités, je ne dis pas totalement librement, mais c'est un peu, on a quand même cette liberté-là, mais à Goma, on soupçonne tout le monde et on n'est pas vraiment en liberté parce que c'est une zone vraiment rouge.
So in Kinshasa, it's easier, not very easy, but it's easier than in Goma, because in Goma, they suspect almost everybody because it's a red zone.
Voilà. Ouais.
Thank you. Passy, do you have anything to add?
Merci beaucoup, Passy. Est-ce que vous avez quelque chose à ajouter?
Yes, thank you for giving me the floor. It is important to add to what brother Jean-Marie just said, because I was born in Bukavu and Goma, Eastern Congo, before joining Kinshasa as an activist and a revolutionary. And the aspect that we should also add is the language and the level of awareness. You know, we speak, we have four languages, national languages, and in the Eastern Congo, especially in Goma and Bukavu, Swahili is more spoken. And to mobilize sometimes people who are coming from Kinshasa, okay, don't mobilize directly to from Lingala, so they need to have translators, and the message is not direct. So people, the population is Swahili speaking. This is another aspect, and so when using strategies, when using elements from Lingala, and I remember during a film on Lumumba, there was a lady who said that the message when it's in Lingala, people from Bukavu and Goma and Eastern Congo don't have the direct message. So uh, people who are to mobilize should sing or should teach in the direct language. As a musician, my first album, for example, before joining Kinshasa, was entitled Tungana, Let's Unite. So to mobilize the population, the language barrier is an aspect. In Kinshasa, people speak Lingala, and also the contacts with Rwanda and other countries, because Swahili is more spoken in Eastern Africa. So to have this language barrier, one has to to study these two kinds of population. So living in Goma, you see people are more in danger when they speak Swahili. So giving the message in some songs, people in activists, revolutionaries like myself, they have a challenge to talk about the truth in Goma and in Bukavu, because the message will will be understood, rather someone who is struggling here in Kinshasa, because they're not in contact with the enemy. And for me, the enemy, when struggling is Rwanda and those people who understand the message, the people who support the oppressors, the imperialists, and the enemies of the country. So the language is an aspect, and also we don't have the materials. When you are a teacher, for example, there are projectors. When you're screening a given aspect to reach the amount of people, you should have more materials, and the roads are not well built in Eastern Congo. So in Kinshasa, apart from security, there are roads that don't give opportunity because the transportation means is the using. You should have a plane. You should have airlines because uh, we don't have the roads from Goma to Kinshasa. There is a kind of disconnection. So this is the problem when you are mobilizing, working with Mbuti people, for example, being in contact with the people who can bring about a mass mobilization. There is not direct contact. This is the problem because in Kinshasa you can easily use cars, but in Goma and Bukavu to be in contact with the rural areas and the places where the enemies. So you need to pay, for tickets. You need to use the plane. So this is another aspect I would like to add. So in reaching the masses. And when we talk about the masses, we have radios, we have a TV. So these tools that help to reach the population. And so when we are not in touch with the schools. So you should have these tools that will help you to reach the population. And there's a kind of disconnection in Goma and in Bukavu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Passy. That was a great explanation and description. I think that was really helpful. Now we'll
Merci
kind of move
beaucoup,
over.
Passy.
We'll move over to Kirby because we just kind of heard from these two activists that talk about the agitation and mobilization and different tactics that they are employing in Congo. But can you also discuss the role that youth play in kind of mobilizing and being a part of the movements for self-determination in Haiti?
Hi everyone, how y'all doing? Are you good? Are we okay? Is our energy okay? Are we all right? Okay. Can I do a chant and then I'll start? Okay. When I say hands off, you say Haiti. Hands off. Hands off. Okay, are we a little better? A little. Okay. So my name is Kirby Joseph. I am a community organizer born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, first generation Haitian person. I've been organizing with many of you, look familiar, for a very long time. I just wanted to give like a little intro because I wasn't here before. Came in after the movie. I want to uplift that there is no age limit to liberation. Can we agree on that? Can we agree? Okay, cool. And the reason why I say this is because in Haiti, which is a nation that has 4 million people, Haiti is the size of Brooklyn. 19% of its population is youth. When I'm talking about youth, I'm talking about not my age youth, which is a spiritual youth, but from 12 to about 26. There is something that I want to uplift because I know it came up in the film. But within Haiti, an area that youth has played a big part, and this started ever since the 80s, but even before with trying to overthrow Duvalier or Papa Doc. I don't know if folks know about that person. But Papa Doc was a US backed dictator within Haiti during the 40s to about the 60s. Then he made himself president for life, made his son the prince, and then his son inherited Haiti to continue US backed policy and imperialism in Haiti. There was a massive movement against Duvalier, and also Duvalier worked hand in hand with Zionist Israel.
Israel actually armed Duvalier to squash or attempt to squash the Haitian mass movement for self-determination. So they were getting armament from Israel. The connections, the connections. But the reason why I uplift this is because even during that time, even the revolutionary moments within Haiti from 1791 until now, young people have had their hand in the liberation struggle in Haiti. The student movement, which was something that was shown in the film, is something that also played out in Haiti in a very different way. Students were mobilizing, and I know there's a way that we look at elections here, two sides of the same coin, all the things, that's a whole different panel. But in Haiti, the idea of a democratic election did not exist for decades. People were inheriting nations and being fully backed and funded by US imperialism, right? And so one of the ways that young people participated in fighting for liberation was to have student drives and community drives on their campuses in their neighborhoods to increase voter registration. Because they understood that poor and working class people in Haiti needed to vote for a progressive leader. Somebody who was not tied to US empire, somebody who was not tied to the puppet regime of Haiti. Students took that on. And students paid the price for taking that on. Students lost their lives. So they were doing the work of not only educating the majority about elections, about the program of Aristide, who was the first democratically elected president in Haiti, who was ousted twice, who never served one full term because of US entanglement, right? Especially when he demanded reparations from France. That's when they really ousted his ass. That's a different panel. But it was students that took up that work. I do want to also uplift something very, very important. There are young people organizing in Haiti. There's the Petro Challengers. These are young people who have a clear class understanding of what is going on in Haiti, understanding what socialism is. I don't know what, I don't know, some anarchists, some socialists, some communists. I don't know who's up in here. We can talk about it later. But they understand class consciousness and the benefit of having allied contacts like Venezuela, like Cuba, who are providing resources to Haitian people, and understanding that those resources are being stolen by US-backed puppet regimes in Haiti. There's also Money Golf, which is another radical organization that's made up of mostly young people. Sorry, I heard somebody talking, y'all. And there's also Tête Collée, which is an organization made of young people who are working with rural farmers in Haiti. The problem is those struggles are scattered. And this is by design. In Haiti, the mass movement is scattered because the mass movement from the beginning has always been impacted by violence from colonialism, period. And it has taken its toll. Whether it be from, I know somebody asked a question about the role of women and queer folks in organizing. In Haiti, it was women, it was young people, it was elders on the front lines fighting for liberation. And it was those people who are the most vulnerable being hit with the brunt violence of state violence. And all backed, all paid for. And it's very unfortunate because as the movement is scattered in Haiti, it's also scattered here in the United States. Haiti right now is facing a crisis of imperialism that is different from all the rest. It is fully funded and has been funded by the United States. It is a struggle for self-determination that has existed since 1791, since the first seed of liberation started to shift in Haiti. And it's something that Haitians continue to fight against. And that includes young people. But has there been a full set of unity yet? No. But then our work is to create a solidarity movement to uplift those struggles here regardless. It's very important for us when we, mobilize to include Haiti in the conversation. Because Haiti and Haitian people are using some of the similar tactics that our comrades are using in the Congo, whether it be mobilizing on campus, whether it be educational programs from door to door, whether it be doing popular education. There are chants that folks are using on the ground in Haiti that are uplifting a new future, that is uplifting an end to capitalism, that is uplifting an end to imperialism. Haitians know who their enemies are. You can talk to the youth about it. They'll tell you the UN is their enemy. They tell you that Biden is their enemy. They tell you that Kamala is their enemy. It's clear. But the problem is that they're being met by violence from national police, from puppet regimes that are put in place by the UN, that's fully funded by the United States government.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kirby. I think that was such a really great, concise summary of the situation in Haiti, but also important connections you made in Congo. You talk a lot about U.S. imperialism. That wasn't particularly mentioned in this film that we watched, but the same situation could be said it has to be said in Congo. I'd love for Jean-Marie or Passy, maybe could you speak about the role of imperialism and it playing into the conflict, especially as we just, heard about the Congolese been demanding UN peacekeeping forces to leave Congo. How does imperialism play a role in the violence?
Jean-Marie et Passy, si vous pouvez peut-être dire quelque chose, comment l'impérialisme joue dans le système au Congo. Notamment, actuellement, les Congolais sont en train de demander à ce que les Nations Unies ou la MONUSCO, MONUC, puissent quitter le pays.
C'est moi qui parle ou bien c'est le camarade
Vous allez
Passy?
demander soit Passy, soit vous.
OK. Comme nous le savons bien, le Congo, c'est vraiment le bastion de l'impérialisme.
As we know, Congo is a stronghold for imperialism.
Les impérialistes ont tout fait pour maintenir le Congo dans la situation d'instabilité que nous vivons aujourd'hui.
The imperialists have done all they can so that Congo can stay in the situation it is actually in.
Raison pour laquelle même les Nations Unies ne parviennent pas à trouver des solutions concernant les problèmes du Congo.
That's why even the UN is unable to find a solution to the problems in Congo.
Et ça s'est fait constater dans le monde entier que le Congo subit vraiment une injustice claire.
And the whole world can see right now that Congo is suffering from a clear injustice.
C'est là où mon organisation, la 4e Voie, est en train de travailler.
And that's how my organization, 4e Voie, or the fourth wave is working.
Parce que notre lutte consiste aussi à sortir le Congo de l'impérialisme.
Because our fight consists of getting Congo out of imperialism's stronghold.
Alors, les dirigeants que nous avons actuellement, nous avons l'impression qu'ils ne comprennent pas les enjeux.
The leaders that we presently have in Congo seem not to understand what's at stake.
Raison pour laquelle la formation est très importante.
That's why it's very important to train the youth in Congo.
Donc, nous nous basons sur cet aspect-là de conscientisation.
So we are raising awareness.
Voilà. Et cela fait en sorte que nous puissions être en contact avec les jeunes du Venezuela, les jeunes du Cuba et de tant d'autres pays ou États socialistes.
So this allows us to be in contact with the youth in Venezuela, in Cuba, and other socialist countries.
Et il nous arrive souvent de faire des échanges pour savoir comment à court, à moyen et à long terme mener la lutte.
So we often have time to exchange on how we can carry out or fight short term, long term, mid term.
Et bon, il y a certaines choses que nous avons mises en place que je ne peux pas dévoiler ici, mais nous sommes conscients de cet aspect d'impérialisme dans notre pays.
There are some things that we have agreed upon and put in place, but I'm not at liberty to speak about it here, but we are aware of the situation in our country.
Et je vous assure qu'actuellement, un bon nombre de jeunes Congolais sont conscients de l'impérialisme qui règne dans le pays.
And I can tell you that many young people in our country are aware of what imperialism is doing in our country.
Et nous travaillons sur des solutions que nous devons donner à cet aspect de choses.
And we are working on the solutions that we have to bring to this situation.
Et le but même de notre formation, c'est de lutter contre l'impérialisme.
And the purpose of our training is actually to fight against imperialism.
Donc, c'est un peu ça. Donc, il y a certaines choses que je ne peux pas dévoiler actuellement, mais nous menons des démarches qui sont vraiment efficaces, qui vont sortir le Congo de là où il se trouve.
So that's what I can say, because there are some things that I'm not at liberty of saying right now, but we are working on it.
Okay, thank
Je ne
you.
sais pas si le camarade Passy peut compléter. Voilà.
Maybe Passy can say something.
Sure, yes, and we'll
Yes.
open up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the floor. Thank you, brother Jean-Marie, for have given more details. I will be very brief in talking about imperialism and capitalism role in DRC. Now we should have a look at the role of Lumumba. Lumumba was termed to be a communist, and I think the role of imperialism today is to disconnect the vision of Lumumba to the situation, to what is the dream of young Congolese people. And that's why with my organization called Race, and we called it in the Afro Culture Network, Réseau Afro Culture. As artists and activists, we try to remind what was the struggle of Lumumba. They don't want Congolese people to continue the vision of Lumumba, because Lumumba was an ideological, so it was an ideology, an ideal, and that's why they don't want people to know him. Lumumba is not known. Lumumba is not understood. If you need to know you want to know the struggle and the role of imperialism in Congo, you need to understand Lumumba. That's why we want to connect, to mobilize people about the speeches, about the all the writings of Lumumba, and this will allow people to know what is imperialism. Lumumba died because he was against the strategies, the tactics, and the goal of imperialism and capitalism. During Lumumba time, there was no, they were not looking for coltan, they were not looking for maybe cobalt today. They were looking for the rubber, and the struggle will also change tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow the struggle and the role of imperialism will be to come and take water in Congo. But we Congolese people, we have to understand the struggle, and because we are having the neocolonialism, colonial the masters. So what is different from the colonial masters? This is for me the role of imperialism. We need to know the struggle, the strategies by looking at the superstructure. So we don't have anyone who was the character of Lumumba in politics, in the leading area, the leading wing of the country, and also the base, the population and needs to understand who is Lumumba. So for me, this is the role of imperialism, and we need to mobilize. We need to tell the masses about the vision, because Lumumba is the reference for us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jean-Marie and Passy, for the incredible comments, and Kirby for that really great summary of the situation in Haiti. Now we can open up for any other questions. We've maybe a few minutes. Okay.
I'm wondering if any of you could tell us how we can include prisoners in our fight for liberation.
Elle demande si vous pouvez parler comment on peut impliquer les prisonniers dans notre lutte de libération.
Comment impliquer les prisonniers? Voilà. Moi-même, je suis un ancien prisonnier.
I was also in prison, so I understand.
En sortant de la prison, je suis sorti avec plusieurs membres qui sont membres jusqu'à présent.
And so when in coming out of prison, I came out with other people, and they are members of our organization
Donc, ces derniers avaient reçu ce message en étant en prison. Et ils ont cru à l'idéologie de l'organisation, à la lutte contre l'impérialisme.
So they received our message while we were in prison. So they received a training on how to fight against imperialism.
Il y a d'autres que j'ai rencontrés dans des cachots secrets.
Other people I met in private, let's call them secret prison, secret jails.
Et ces derniers nous ont suivis dans la lutte simplement par rapport à notre attitude d'abord.
And they followed us in our fight just because of our attitude first.
Et cela a fait en sorte que aujourd'hui ils soient membres de notre organisation.
And they became members of our organization.
Bon, quand on dit impliquer les prisonniers, oui, moi je crois que
when you talk
la
about involving
révolution
prisoners,
peut provenir aussi de la prison.
When we talk about involving prisoners, I believe that revolution can also come from prison.
Parce que moi qui vous parle, même en prison, on m'enfermait encore. Donc, on me mettait encore dans un autre cachot de la
For
prison.
example, me, while I was in prison, I was also put in isolation.
Parce qu'on constatait que j'étais un élément dangereux.
Because
Donc,
they
j'étais toujours en train
considered me
de
as
révolter d'autres prisonniers.
They considered me as a dangerous element because I was revolting other prisoners.
Donc, c'est aussi l'une des raisons qui avait fait en sorte que je puisse être aussi libéré quand j'étais dans d'autres cachots secrets.
That's one of the reasons why they would free me quickly when I was in those hidden private jails.
Donc, pour dire, il y a possibilité de passer le message même aux prisonniers.
So it's possible to get the message through even to inmates, to prisoners.
Alors, ces derniers peuvent rejoindre la lutte soit en étant libres ou soit en étant en prison. Mais nous n'avons pas encore l'expérience de sortir ou l'expérience de prisonniers qui mènent la lutte en étant en prison.
So these, say, prisoners can either do it while they're in prison or when they are free, but we do not have an experience of those who carry out this fight while they were in prison.
Donc, il faut qu'ils deviennent libres pour mener la lutte. Mais le message, nous pouvons le passer même en prison.
But the message, we can give our message even when or with people who are in prison.
Je ne sais pas si j'ai bien compris la question.
I don't know if I answered your question or if I understood well.
Okay, yes. Any other questions? Thank you so much for that response.
Merci beaucoup.
I can talk in French, I think. OK? Bokassa, tu peux traduire?
Oui, il suffit de me laisser de l'espace.
OK, merci. Alors, moi, je m'appelle Île-de-France.
My name is Ildefonse.
Alors, je suis congolais, je réside à Goma.
I'm a Congolese coming from Goma.
Je suis à New York depuis 2 mois.
It's 2 months now that I'm in New York.
Et je suis chercheur en question de sécurité à l'est de la RDC.
I'm a researcher in issues on the situation in Eastern Congo.
Alors, je voulais fixer peut-être 2 points seulement par rapport à la discussion d'aujourd'hui.
I'd like to say 2 small things regarding today's discussion.
Alors, le premier point, c'est sur la mobilisation à l'est.
The first thing is on mobilization in Eastern Congo.
Et peut-être le deuxième, ça serait la question sécuritaire que la dame a posée aux panélistes.
And maybe the second issue would be on security, as the other lady asked earlier.
Alors, ce qu'il faut savoir, en RDC, on n'a pas le même système de mobilisation à l'est et à l'ouest.
So what we need to understand is that in the DRC, we don't have the same system of mobilizing people as we have in the east or in the west.
Parce que déjà, Passy a parlé, par exemple, de la difficulté de langue.
Because earlier, Passy talked about the difficulties that they have over there.
Et aussi,
Language.
et sur le plan, par exemple, à l'ouest, c'est plus des questions sécuritaires, les questions politiques qui intéressent plus les jeunes militants.
In the west side of Congo, it's maybe more about politics that people are interested in.
Tandis qu'à l'est, c'est essentiellement d'abord la question sécuritaire. Et
And on the eastern side, it's more about security.
Alors, à l'est, nous avons des mouvements citoyens et des groupes de pression.
In east, we have what we call citizen movements and pressure groups.
Et donc, depuis même de la situation de l'état de siège qui a été décrété à l'est, il y a toujours des mobilisations sérieuses qui se font à l'est.
In spite of the situation in Eastern Congo, we still have the possibility of mobilizing.
C'est pour cela que je comprends que, par exemple, Jean-Marie qui dit qu'il a peur d'aller à l'est parce qu'il y a cette question de sécurité.
That's why, for example, Jean-Marie says things are difficult because there's a security problem.
Mais pour un jeune, un militant de l'est, peu importe les sécurités, il doit faire la lutte.
But for a militant from the east, they will go on the ground. They will fight.
Donc, la plupart des jeunes sont organisés autour de ces mouvements de pression, des groupes de pression, mouvements citoyens, pour réellement faire de la lutte pour la cause congolaise.
So many of the young people in Eastern Congo are around these organizations, pressure movements.
Et donc, si vous suivez vraiment l'actualité de l'Est, vous sentez qu'il y a toujours cette mobilisation qui est réelle à l'Est, en dépit de cette question sécuritaire qui piétine dans l'Est de la RDC.
So if you follow the situation in Eastern Congo, you will see that in spite of the insecurity, there's always possibility of mobilizing.
Ouais. Alors, si le deuxième point, question sécuritaire.
So on the second point, talking about security,
je pense que le défi majeur, c'est d'abord la question de la faiblesse de l'État congolais.
The main challenge is the weakness of the Congolese state.
Cela ne veut pas dire pour autant qu'on dédouane les autres États ou les autres acteurs extérieurs.
It doesn't mean that we are not accusing the other countries or other people or other countries from the outside.
Parce qu'en fait, si nous avons un État fort,
because if we have a strong country,
on peut prendre des mécanismes pour la sécurisation de l'Est ou de la population congolaise.
It'll be much easier to protect the population in Eastern Congo or for the whole country.
Alors, il y a eu un mouvement contre la MONUSCO pour demander le retrait de la MONUSCO à l'est de la RDC.
So there was a movement asking MONUSCO, the UN force, to leave the country.
En dépit même de la situation sécuritaire qui est toujours en état piteux à l'est de la RDC.
Even though there is still a security situation in Eastern Congo.
Parce que la population, parce que la MONUSCO n'a pas fait grand-chose pour redorer la paix à l'est de la RDC.
Because the population actually thinks that the MONUSCO has not done a lot to bring peace in Eastern Congo.
Cela s'est observé même lorsqu'on a vu la force de l'EAC qui est arrivée à l'est de la RDC.
And we also saw that when the force coming from East Africa come in Congo.
L'objectif était de combattre l'M23, mais cette force n'a pas fait cette mission-là.
The purpose was to fight the M23, which is a rebel group, but the observation is that this force did not do so.
Et donc la population a fait des manifestations pour réclamer le retrait de cette force également.
So that's why the population demanded that the East African force leave the country.
Et donc ça veut dire, même si la situation s'empire, mais la population veut qu'il y ait des acteurs qui s'impliquent réellement pour restaurer la paix à l'Est.
So even if the situation is not improving, the population wants actors that are really working for the situation to change.
Alors, je vais revenir peut-être à la question qu'on m'a posée hier à un événement dans une université ici. Je me rappelle plus.
So maybe I'd come back to a question that was asked to me yesterday in another university.
Alors, c'était de dire qu'est-ce que la population américaine peut aider les Congolais dans sa lutte.
So the question is, how can the American population help the Congolese in their fight?
Alors, pour nous, c'est peut-être ce qu'on peut demander, c'est le plaidoyer.
What we can ask is advocacy from your side.
Continuer de parler de la souffrance de la population congolaise à tous les décideurs du monde.
Continue talking about the situation and the suffering.
Oh, it can be difficult to continue.
Well, let's continue.
Alors, je disais que ça serait aussi de continuer de parler de la souffrance de la population congolaise.
Continue talking about the suffering of the Congolese people.
Et ça peut permettre aux décideurs, aux membres de la communauté internationale de commencer à se focaliser réellement sur la question de l'Est de la RDC.
That might help the international community to focus more on the situation in the Congo.
Par exemple, à décourager certaines multinationales qui sont impliquées, par exemple, dans la question de l'extraction des minerais à l'Est de la RDC, qui favorisent malheureusement ces conflits-là.
Maybe, for example, in discouraging what the big tech companies and others are doing that's maybe fueling the crisis in Congo.
Par exemple, soutenir ce procès qui est, par exemple, organisé contre Apple dans le déravitaillement, par exemple, des produits pour la fabrication de différents téléphones que nous utilisons ici.
Maybe to follow up also on the trials against Apple and other companies that are using minerals, extracting minerals that are used in technology.
Et donc, ça serait aussi la même chose pour les autres acteurs, par exemple, dans le cadre de la justice traditionnelle.
It's the same thing in other sectors, for example, in transitional justice.
Alors, peut-être aussi faire maintenant un appel à nous, Congolais, de demander encore plus au gouvernement congolais.
And then also ask that we as Congolese demand more from the Congolese government.
Et ça, c'est une lutte qui se ferait vraiment à l'interne, comme avec les autres militaires qui sont là.
And that is more of something that'll be inside the country, internal.
Et moi, je pense que cette synergie-là pourrait nous aider réellement à résoudre cette souffrance que subit la population congolaise.
So I believe that with all these different actors working together, it will help find a solution and help the people in the Congo.
Merci.
Thank you.
Any other questions? more questions.
My question for Jean-Marie and Passy.
Ma question, c'est pour Jean-Marie et Passy.
What literature do you recommend for us people in the imperial core to understand better the situation in Congo and to understand better the situation regionally? What kind of literature, books, or anything would you recommend us read?
Quelle littérature ou bien quel livre est-ce que vous pouvez nous recommander pour nous autres pour mieux comprendre la situation soit au Congo, soit dans la sous-région?
Produire les États ratés d'Edouard Herman.
Il y en a en anglais?
Bon, je ne sais pas s'il y a de version en anglais. Produire les États ratés. L'auteur, c'est Edouard Herman.
So he says that there is a book from Edward Herman. In French, it's Produire les États ratés, or how would I put it in English? Oh, wow. It's how to produce a failed state.
Failed.
But the author is Edward Herman. Passy, vous avez une idée?
Yes, thank you. I think if you visit freecongo.com, so with Friend of the Congo, there are so many books you can download via www.freecongo.com. So you can find more publications on the Congo. So there are also Pan-African books. So like the Kwame Nkrumah, so Africa Must Unite. So you can also go from the historical, literature. So in Kwame Nkrumah, for example, describes the situation in Congo concerning the past, and this can also allows one to have an idea. So Africa Must Unite. So one of the books are there, and so please visit freecongo.org. Yes. So there are more publications, and also the work of the organizations that in front of the Congo out there, platforms are publishing concerning the situation. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any final thoughts from the panel? Kirby, anyone else on the panel? Final comments before we conclude the panel?
Est-ce qu'il y a des derniers commentaires avant que nous puissions clôturer?
Effectivement. Oui. Je pense que mon frère congolais de l'Est de la République m'a un peu mal compris.
I think maybe that my brother from the East Congo didn't understand me well.
Parce que nous travaillons plus sur la conscientisation.
We work on raising awareness.
Parce que la différence dans ces combats est que
because the difference in this fight is that
il y a par exemple la situation sécuritaire.
There's a security situation.
On ne se bat pas seulement concernant la situation sécuritaire, mais on se bat contre tout un système.
We're not only fighting against the security situation, but we're fighting against a whole system.
Donc, ça ne demande pas seulement les biceps, mais ça demande de l'intelligence et une bonne compréhension de la situation.
It's not only about having strength, power, but also the intellectually understanding the situation.
C'est ça les démarches que nous sommes en train de mener sur terrain.
And that's how the process that we are trying to carry out on the ground.
Parce que quand on regarde il y a des années et des années que nous luttons face à cette situation, mais nous ne parvenons pas à la vaincre.
Because it's been years and years that we are fighting like this, but we have not been able to overcome the situation.
Donc, le grand problème, c'est l'impérialisme. Donc, la population doit comprendre le mode opératoire de l'impérialisme.
So the problem here is imperialism, and the population, the people must be able to understand how it works.
Et en même temps, nous sommes en train de nous battre contre nos dirigeants qui sont sous les jeux de l'impérialisme.
And at the same moment, we are fighting our own leaders who are actually under the power of imperialism.
Nous avons un système éducatif créé par l'impérialisme.
We have an education system which was created by imperialism.
Donc, cela veut dire que tout doit provenir de la tête. Les changements dont nous parlons doivent commencer d'abord par nos têtes. Pour que nous
So the change we are talking about, if we really want to overcome anything, has to come from the change of our mind.
Et c'est là où nous nous focalisons et nous avons beaucoup d'avancées quant à ce.
And that's where we are focusing on, and we've made a lot of progress.
Nous lisons aussi comment les auteurs qui parlent de cette situation, comme je venais d'évoquer Edouard Herman, tout ça, parce que je suis aussi parmi ceux qui enseignent au sein de l'école panafricaine, André Blois.
We also read what others are writing to understand what they are saying. Like I said, we talk about Edward Herman, because I am myself a teacher in our Pan-African school.
Voilà. Donc, pour dire, nous n'allons pas seulement vaincre avec le biceps, mais nous devons tout d'abord toucher les têtes de Congolais.
So it's not only about winning or overcoming with power and strength, but we also have to overcome the minds of the Congolese.
Alors, notre frère a soulevé un point très important concernant la question qui lui a été posée sur ce que les jeunes des États-Unis peuvent apporter à ce qui se passe au Congo.
He also talked about something very important, about a question that was asked to him of what the youth or people in the US can do to help us in Congo.
Oui, il a parlé de plaidoyer, c'est très important.
Advocacy is really important.
Nous ne devons pas oublier que ce sont les jeunes des États-Unis qui élisent les sénateurs.
Let's not forget that the youth has an important role in the US because they help in electing the senators.
Et ils ont un mot à dire concernant la politique des États-Unis sur les États africains.
So in this way, they have a word to say on the US policy in Africa and in some way also in the Congo.
Si leur vote, donc le vote des sénateurs, dépendent des jeunes des États-Unis, c'est que les jeunes des États-Unis ont un mot à dire.
So if electing senators also depends on vote of young people, it means the young people has a word to say.
Et raison pour laquelle c'est très important de lire Edouard Herman, donc créer les États ratés. Qui crée les États ratés? Ce sont les États-Unis.
And so it's very important, for example, to read what Edward Herman wrote, because he's saying that who creates weak states, for example, in other countries, the US plays a role in that.
Donc, les États-Unis jouent un rôle important dans la déstabilisation de la République démocratique du Congo.
So in a way, the US plays an important role in destabilizing the DRC.
Je préfère m'arrêter là pour ne pas monopoliser la parole.
I think I should stop there so not to take too long.
Okay. Haiti right now is currently experiencing its fourth occupation. And it's an occupation that's fully backed, supported by the US government. And the reason why I'm uplifting this is because if you hear about Haiti in the news, there's a big piece of it that has a lot of fear mongering. The West has been using fear, racism, and lies to talk about the struggle for self determination in Haiti from the very beginning. And it is those lies that continue to make it possible for there not to be solidarity for Haiti. And the reason why I'm uplifting this is because Haitians stand with all working revolutionary people of the world. When Haitians dared to be free, it wasn't just for themselves, it was for the world. Haiti marked itself as an internationalist ally to the world. When Haiti freed itself, there was no Cuba, there was no Venezuela, there was no pink tide, there were no allies. Haiti freed itself in complete isolation. There were slaves in the United States, and this was during a time where monarchy reigned supreme, and Haiti was looked at as a threat. Its freedom wasn't even acknowledged. And I say this because, as radical people, we have to study Haiti. Haiti was the original lab of imperialism, battle tested and proven. And not only should we study it, but we should be able to teach it and include it within our struggle. Because Haiti includes our struggles on their land. In Haiti right now, they're talking about Palestine. In Haiti, there's a George Floyd mural. In Haiti, there's a Breonna Taylor mural. Haitians are watching what organizations here are doing and actually are looking for us to break the chains of imperialism here. They can't wait for the day. They want to celebrate with us, right? And I think it's very important for us as revolutionaries to always keep that in mind, but always have solidarity. So what does that look like? If you're organizing for Congo, you should be organizing for Haiti. If you're organizing for Palestine, you should be organizing for Haiti. If you're organizing for Sudan, you should be organizing for Haiti. Haiti should be part of our conversation. And Haiti should be part of our conversation because the struggle continues in Haiti. It hasn't stopped. The struggle has continued since 1804. And it's a struggle that has taken every form, whether it be through popular education, whether it be through mobilizations on the ground, whether it be through blockades, whether it be through student strikes and worker strikes. Haiti produced 60% of the world's coffee and 50% of the world's sugar. Now Haiti produces your H&M shirts, tennis balls, baseball bats, baseballs, and woven goods. So it went from slave labor to less slave labor, but slave labor. And even in that, where Haitians are living off of $2 American a day, they're still fighting to be free. Haitians have recently, and the comrades are talking about language, Haitians have recently united to say that Creole is the national language of Haiti. That's the people's language. They organize in that language, they chant in that language, they write in that language. And that was a language that came from African, Latinx, indigenous tongues when French was a dominant language throughout the land because of imperialism, because of colonialism, because of slavery. And I'm mentioning all of this because I want to give context to why Haitians fight. And Haitians fight so we all can be free. The emblem for Haiti is with union, there is force, or there's strength. And it's not just about building people power. Yes, do that. But it's also about building internationalism. We must do that. So I'm very happy to have been here today. I know I didn't speak too much. I wanted to give our comrades space because it's Congo week and I'm Haitian. But I just want to really uplift that as anti-imperialists, we have to be internationalists as well.
Thank you. Just before we conclude, Passy, the last person on the panel, special request. Can you talk a little bit about your work with the Yole Center in Goma as you conclude with your final thoughts?
Okay, thank you. Talking about Yole work, and I had a trip in Goma in July and June. We had the the program called the Isangi Encounter. So we are working with Yole Africa, thanks to Friend of the Congo. I have my organization called the Race, but thanks to Friend of the Congo, uh, connected to organizations like Yole Africa, and in Yole Africa, we were more interested in film screening the local movies that talk about the situation in Eastern Congo and Goma. And it is a great pleasure, privilege to have young Congolese filmmakers, artists who produce films by themselves, even these victims of the war, especially in the Bulengo camp, we see women who are able to produce their own stories thanks to images, and it was a great experience and great discovery for me. Africa, me as a musician and artist, I had a great opportunity to be in contact with other artists, not only filmmakers and singers, and so unity is the solution. So we should be united because Lumumba could see the Congo in so many angles. That's why we are trying to solve to make us stand in solidarity with all the oppressed people. Just imagine more than let's say 5 million people living in the camps, and that's why Yale Africa and the Bassanja coalition, for example, uh, they are fighting to have a collective struggle and to have a collective approach to revolution. So in Yale Africa, you have the opportunity to, to be in contact with artists, and me as a teacher and artist, as an activist, I had learned a lot in Goma, and that's why I said we need to be in contact. When we travel in Goma, you have another experience. And I remember when I visited Gama, I also visited Rwanda because we need to know the strategies of the enemy. And I could learn more about the situation both in Congo and in Goma and Gisenyi, for example. And talking to these uh, displaced people, women, and the way they live in these camps, the conditions, the bad conditions in which they live, inspired me as an artist. And that's why I'm composing songs like the Bassanja Coalition to talk about the Congo Basin, because the struggle is also environmental. And also, I was inspired by the situations and to say that if Lumumba were there. Though that's my contacts with Yole Africa, and I'm working on the project called Revolution, the album. It is thanks to these contacts with all these movements that I happen to improve my capacity, to build my capacity as an artist, because we should be inspired by the community. We should use culture and our situation in order to teach the masses, to mobilize the masses, thanks to our pieces of art. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. In conclusion, I'd just like to thank you all so much for coming out tonight to learn about the movement in the Congo. I'd like to thank um, our panelists in the Congo, Patsy and Jean-Marie, who, who have stayed up late tonight. It's 5 hours ahead of us here in New York. I'd also like to thank Bukas. Thank you for your wonderful translations.
You're welcome.
Um, so you all might be wondering what those of us in the global north can do to help. Whenever we talk to activists who actually live in the Congo, the main thing they ask us, or that they tell us, sorry, losing my place here. The main thing they tell us is that it's our governments in the West, with their powerful militaries, their control of the media, and their overall hegemony, that allow multinational capitalists to exploit the resources and the people of the DRC. The activists ask us to get as much information out as possible about the conditions in the DRC. So we hope today you've learned more. You've learned more today than you knew before, and you help to share the information. To learn more, you can go to congoweek.org. It's almost over. Congo Week ends, I think, Sunday. Yeah, but it's all archived on the website. So there's some really, really good information and presentations there. You can play back. The Congolese people have given so much to the world and have received so little in return. Besides spreading awareness about the Congo, there are monetary ways to help, and we have a QR code. It's not displayed yet, but we do have one on the screen, and it's for being able to donate to Yole Africa, which is the organization that Passy is a member of and that he spoke about. You can donate today, literally with the QR code, just pointing your phone, um, or you can take a closer look later. I'm going to actually ask Joseph now to talk about Southbound.
Yeah, so the QR code is up on those screens. We'll also put it up here. As I just mentioned, Passy discussed Yole Africa, which is a center in Goma in the east, which hosts art, musical education, emancipatory education, and essentially by working with Passy through Friends of the Congo and other organizing spaces, trying to find ways to direct people to donate to help the Yole Center, help get equipment that's needed for funding their activities. So that QR code is up there. And that's part of an initiative to direct more funding support to projects like that do liberatory pedagogy. Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
I'm like, I don't know.